What's up guys, Rob here from Showdown, and today we're going to be ranking the best mentors in anime. So shout out to electrified_red.mage for tagging me in this post. There's a lot of elite teachers and mentors in this. We have Bisky from Hunter x Hunter. Next we have Yami from Black Clover, Rayleigh from One Piece, Jiraiya from Naruto, Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen, and Genkai from Yu Yu Hakusho. So actually what I want to do is I want to pick the top 3 teachers out of this list. I know there's a lot of elite anime mentors from different shows, but I specifically want to talk about these 6 right here. Now I'm going to be very honest with you. For 3rd place, I was stuck, and it came down to either Rayleigh from One Piece or Genkai from Yu Yu Hakusho. Now we really have to analyze the way these 2 mentors work because they have a very similar style. The way they approach teaching their students is more teaching them the fundamentals and then letting them figure the answers out to their own questions. We've seen this with Rayleigh and Luffy. When Rayleigh taught Luffy Haki, he showed him the basics of the 3 fundamental Haki types: armament, observation, and conquerors. And after that, he let him train on his own and only came back after a couple months. So Luffy actually had to develop his own type of fighting style. He had to find a way to incorporate the Haki into his devil fruit abilities, and this is where we got Gear 4. This is all Luffy's doing. So really just taught him the basics, and Luffy had to figure it out from there. Genkai was also in a very similar situation with Yusuke as Rayleigh was to Luffy, because we have to remember, Rayleigh and Genkai were short on time. They didn't have a lot of time to work with their students. Luffy gave his crew 2 years before he was going to come back stronger, and Yusuke had to prepare for Toguro. So they didn't have a lot of time to really work with, so they kind of had to teach them the fundamentals and see what happened from there. And we saw Genkai do this when she boosted Yusuke's use of the spirit gun. Yusuke really didn't know how to control his spirit powers, so Genkai showed him the ropes, but they were pressed for time. Genkai was pretty much like, look, here's the spirit waveboard. Yusuke, if you can survive it, that's great. If you can't, you'll die. We'll see what happens. And Yusuke pretty much had to figure that out on his own as well. What makes this very tough is that Luffy became a complete beast after his training with Rayleigh. Once he really knew about Haki, Luffy was just on a whole other level. We saw Luffy doing great things like taking down Hody Jones, and now his name is being mentioned in newspapers amongst the Yonko. So Rayleigh did his thing, but Genkai also did hers, because now Yusuke is one of the top spirit detectives that we have ever seen, and he was able to defeat Toguro. Rayleigh helped rescue Luffy, and he also protected him on his return. Genkai sacrificed herself to fight Toguro in order to teach Yusuke something and try to push Yusuke on a different path than Togoro's. I don't really know who to pick, but if I'm going to be honest with you, I think I'm leaning more towards Genkai. And the only reason why I'm leaning more towards Genkai is because Rayleigh did not really have a tough time to really teach Luffy. Luffy is determined, he's ready to go. Luffy will go through anything in order to get stronger. Genkai's situation was a little bit different, because if you have watched Yu Yu Hakusho, you already know that Yusuke is not the easiest student to work with. And Genkai still found a way to make Yusuke top tier. And Yusuke also was maturing through this process. His close relationship with Genkai mattered so much that it pushed Yusuke onto a top tier level automatically. Rayleigh was kind of just guiding Luffy a little bit, but Genkai and Yusuke had a real close bond. So it's a little bit different in that situation as well. The fact that she had to go through teaching someone as hard-headed as Yusuke versus Rayleigh working with Luffy, it's different. Luffy had a motive to get stronger. He wanted to protect the Straw Hats. Yusuke, it was a little tougher. Genkai had to pull that motivation out of him. So I'm gonna pick Genkai for my 3rd place mentor. All right, so this leaves a lot of top tier mentors left, but I already have my number 2 in mind. My number 2 pick was pretty much tasked with making one of the best duos we have ever seen in anime top tier. And I'm talking about Bisky from Hunter x Hunter. Now hold on, hear me out. Bisky is different. She had to really teach advanced techniques of Nen to Gon and Killua. Nen is not an easy power system to work with. It's not like Devil Fruits and Haki, and it's not like Spirit Power from Yu Yu Hakusho. Nen has so many different types of abilities, and there's different ways you can use it, whether it's offensive, defensive. You have specialist abilities which give you even more creativity to work with. Bisky had to pretty much find a way to bring the best out of Gon and Killua. She taught them Ko, Gyo, En, Ren, everything. There is no Jajanken, if Bisky's not there. Killua's not reaching Godspeed Killua if Bisky didn't hold that down and teach him how to really use his nen. This is what I'm saying. Bisky deserves a lot of credit for even having Gon and Killua be considered as hunters on the Chimera Ant mission. Because remember, they weren't even gonna bring them. Moral tested them, Knuckle tested them. If it wasn't for Bisky, none of that would have happened. They wouldn't even be there. But Bisky brought them to the next level that they were way beyond where they were expected to be. So for that reason, I think Bisky is a really top tier mentor because like I said, Nen is a very hard thing to teach because it's so advanced. So this only leaves one spot left for my number one pick. Yami's there, Jiraiya's there, Gojo's there. I don't know about you guys, but this pick is very easy for me, for my number one. Hands down, the best mentor out of everybody on this list, blows everybody out of the water. And that pick is Jiraiya. Jiraiya is one of the best mentors in all of anime. Honestly, my pick for number one. Let's just think about how legendary this Sannin was. Minato, you know, the fourth Hokage, the Yellow Flash, was inspired by Jiraiya. Naruto, you know, the seventh Hokage, was also taught and mentored and inspired by Jiraiya. Kakashi, who even is reading Jiraiya's books, ended up becoming the sixth Hokage. Jiraiya had his influence there as well. But we can even point to outside of the village. Yahiko, Conan, Nagato, all top tier shinobi that even founded the Akatsuki, one of the craziest organizations ever that got twisted into something else. Even they were inspired by Jiraiya initially and mentored. When we talk about the amount of top tier shinobi that have crossed paths with Jiraiya, he really has a Midas touch. I mean, everybody he crossed paths with became top tier. Whether they were a villain or they were a hero, it does not matter. Everybody that Jiraiya mentored was insanely powerful. It's a shame that Jiraiya wasn't able to assume the Hokage role, but we understand why. He's much better suited in that mentorship role than as a leader of the village. Personally, for me, I believe Jiraiya would make a great Hokage, but I would also love to have Jiraiya just staying as a mentor because, like I said, a lot of top tier shinobi were under his umbrella. So those are my top three picks. Obviously, I did not go with Yami, Rayleigh, or Gojo. They were very close though. Rayleigh especially was very, very close. But, you know, Yami's situation was a little bit different. You can give more credit to Gaja in some aspects because post time skip Asta is really credit to Gaja and even not now. Gojo is a little bit too early in the series for me to even put him in this type of conversation, but he's doing a decent job so far. So those are my top three. You guys let me know down in the comment section below which way would you rank these mentors in. And with that, I'll see you next time. Peace.